everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Mercy Volunteer Corps' live frequently asked questions. Tonight, we're going to talk about a parent's perspective of Mercy Volunteer Corps. And thankfully, tonight we are joined by current Mercy Volunteer Kat, who is serving in Savannah, Georgia, and her father, Michael. Just a reminder, if you have any questions throughout our live tonight, you can feel free to comment them in the chat. So, welcome, Kat and Michael. Can you introduce yourselves?
All right, I guess I'll start
Go
off
ahead,
here.
Kitty.
My name is Catherine O'Kelly, or Kat, and I'm from Tapan, New York. It's about a half hour north of the city. I went to school at Loyola University, Maryland, and like Marisa said, I'm currently serving in Savannah, Georgia.
Very good. She got that right. I'm Michael O'Kelly and Catherine's dad, and I am not serving anywhere, but I was on the fire department for over 30 years, and I've been just recently retired. So I was in the New York City Fire Department. So
Thank you both for joining us tonight. I'm excited to hear about some wonderful things you both have to say. So, when we're thinking about a parent's perspective of MVC, Kat, I wanted to ask you, as you considered a year of service, what stuck out to you about MVC, and how did you share that possibility with your parents?
Yeah, so before I committed to this year, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely there was a long period of discernment for me. I had many discussions with my professors and mentors in my life about deciding to do a year of service or go into graduate school to do speech therapy. Um, and I knew I'd be taking an entire year off to continue service, but what stood out to me most about MVC was the opportunity to live in a new place that was unfamiliar to me and also to kind of gain that real world experience after I graduated college in a medical setting. Um, and I also really felt connected to the mission of MVC and the idea of living with like minded people intentionally was something that stood out to me too, with people that also had similar values to my own. And then to kind of communicate this to my parents, I had a previous professor that did MVC, and hearing about her experience and how much it helped her develop both personally and professionally and still impacts her to this day was something that really resonated with me. And I wanted to pass that on to my parents as well. But also from that, I wanted to kind of like explain to them how living intentionally and engaging with patients in a real life setting, in a medical setting, would really help me develop as a speech therapist in graduate school and as a future clinician too. So, um, giving them my professor's experience, but also how it would benefit me in my future was how I kind of delivered it to them.
Thank you, Kat. That's wonderful. So now I want to hear from you, Michael, and when Kat kind of presented this idea to you of service, kind of what struck you, what made you excited, and kind of what made you nervous about this new possibility for her.
Well, I could say honestly, when she first said it, it was through, I got it through my wife, Annie, telling me Catherine's thinking about volunteering. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's going to graduate school. And I said, okay, just say yeah to her, just like she'll get over it. You know what I mean? I figured that, but she kept coming back and kept saying that she really wanted to do it. And we said, well, okay, you have to, check it out, find out what you have to do, give us the details. And she told us about her professor, who we knew that she really admired, and she was in the same path that Catherine was thinking of. And it actually, for us, that was something that really helped because, we also knew like Catherine had volunteered before with different things, and she was was something that's kind of in her ballpark. But at first, and then we were excited that she was going to be doing something that was kind of in a field, trying to figure out what she was, which way she was going to go. Because in the speech, there's, you could possibly work in a hospital, you can work in schools, and this was sort of going into the hospital setting. So it was something that we thought, okay, you know, and the timing was actually good, I thought, as far as after graduating college, even though I thought she'd be either going to school or getting a job, another job, but different job. But it was the right time too. And so those, and nervous, we're just nervous about being, not with us. But I mean, she was already away at school and wasn't, that traumatic. So it's kind of how they start to handle themselves, so it's a good thing to see.
Thank you, Michael. I know a piece of what you had just stated was like this aspect of Kat being away from you and your wife, and this idea of like support and how will Kat feel supported and be supported not living near or close to home or in a new place. So Kat, what would you say, and in what ways have you felt supported by the Mercy community in your new city?
Yeah, I mean, there's just I can't even there's so much that I can say about my community here in Savannah. We do have a support staff and community coordinator who watch after us and make sure that everything's running smoothly, but at our service sites and in community. But right from the beginning, we were welcomed with open arms here in Savannah, and it's just really made it feel like home. From to start off, I mean, we were picked up at the airport and brought to the house, and the house was fully stocked with food and just different treats and stuff for us to have for the first week that we were here. Um, and from there, I mean, a few of the sisters have had us over for dinner. We Each month we have dinner with Sister Pat, she's our volunteer support here. And then we just getting to go to the convent and be with the sisters. We were there at Mercy Day and also Foundation Day. It's just such valuable time to spend with them, and I really you learn from their stories and their past and just what it really means to live through mercy. And I always know I can turn to anyone on my support team, and they'll be here in the morning or even that night to go to figure out anything. And yeah, even this past weekend, we got to bake cookies with the sisters at the convent, and it just really was a nice way to kind of bring the holiday spirit, even being so far from family and home this season. So, yeah.
That's lovely. And I feel like such an important part of the experience. So thank you so much for sharing those pieces that have meant so much to you in regards to support. Michael, I do have a question for you because oftentimes parents are concerned about finances because it is a volunteer year. So our volunteers aren't necessarily getting anything similar to a salary. They get something more like a stipend. So was that a concern for you at all, especially thinking about, as you stated, you thought Kat was going to grad school followed by a job. So was that a concern for you?
Oh, well, it's always, you're always concerned, about finances is one of the things, yes, people are concerned about, and I think in a way, I mean, she was telling us how, she was going to have a place to live, and they had, the transportation for them, and there was a stipend for food. And so it was sounded like, they were trying to, it would give her a chance to see how it is to really start to live and be out there. And I mean, we always would support it, if we had to, but it was a chance for her to see and to start, to be out in the world, to be somewhere else, not right with us, even though she was away at school also. But and to, start to support yourself and see how it is, and I think that was a good thing. It is a good thing. She's realizes, I think, that things, don't grow on trees, right? That's for sure. Right. So that's, I think that's it for me.
A cat. So to remind your dad, and also for anyone watching this, would you be able to share what expenses are covered by MVC and what you have been able to manage on the stipend that you receive?
Yeah, so the house, first off, to start off, the house here in Savannah is extremely comfortable. And with that, we have rent and utilities are covered. And we also have 2 cars. So the transportation on that is covered, but each week we work to manage groceries, gas, and every month we have a personal stipend that I also manage myself. So Sully's the other volunteer here with me this year. We have basically like a Excel spreadsheet to track everything and see where we are with our community budget to make sure we're not going over it, and it just kind of keeps you accountable, keeps you in check, and it just sets you off on the right foot every week and every month. So yeah.
Great, great. And that is very similar to how it is in other cities as well. For anyone watching, MVC covers housing, transportation, which varies city by city, and they do get personal stipends as well. So, um, so in moving forward and talking about other pieces of the experience, how do you feel that this experience, you talked a lot about kind of discerning this opportunity and thinking how it was going to impact your professional career as a uh, speech and language pathologist. I believe that's what you shared, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so how do you feel that this experience so far, you're about halfway in now, how do you feel it has impacted your professional career?
Yeah, I mean, I did study speech language hearing sciences in undergraduate, and I'm hoping to go to graduate school to become an SLP or a speech language pathologist. And kind of like my dad shared before, there are different routes that you could go down in this field. And right now I'm trying to decide which one to go into. So having this exposure, what I do is I'm a health coach in the emergency departments, in 2 emergency departments here. So getting that exposure in a medical setting has, in a place unfamiliar to me, with such a diverse set of patients, really has just opened my eyes and made me aware of the different disparities in healthcare and the systemic factors that do affect patients and the care that they receive. Also, I've really grown in my communication and being able to communicate with doctors, nurses, social workers, and kind of work through different situations that patients are in. And as a future clinician, having that foundation is just so important because you don't know what's going on in a patient's life, and not everything is always at the surface. So I think that this has really showed me that, and I'm excited to bring the skills that I've learned in this position to, and even as a volunteer, living intentionally, I'm really excited to bring that to graduate school and also as a future clinician. So
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. A lot of potential volunteers that we have heard found experience such as similar to yours to be very valuable and then continue to move on. My community member, my year, was also studying SLP, did a year, and then she is currently an SLP at a school. So that's amazing.
all the SLPs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Michael, so another piece of the MVC experience is our volunteers live in community, and many times that's a community of strangers. Did you have any concerns about that at all? How do you feel that was mitigated and explained?
Um, I didn't really think of them as strangers, kind of. I wasn't really, when I first, because I know how Catherine is, and I was sort of thinking it would be kind of like her because they were like minded. They were doing, volunteering. They were trying to step up and do the right thing. So I kind of given them the benefit that they're nice people. I mean, as far as the start. So and I went with Catherine to the orientation. I took it down and I met I guess the whole group, a group of them, and we had some like they were having some pizza, and I wasn't there for very long, but just talking to them and also getting feedback from her, about the people that she was meeting and what was going on, and it kind of that was sort of made you comfortable as far as, and then hearing even the way they came when she got down there, that they, the sisters came to see them and they were trying to get them all squared away. And she was just there the other night and she actually was telling us it felt like she was at Papa and Grandma's, back when, so it was nice. And so I never really thought of them as strangers. I didn't know, of course, you don't know who she's gonna be with, and you're worried about where, and as far as who wasn't as concerned. I didn't think it was, but it was more like, where are you going, and what's going to the circumstance going to be, because it's all it's all new. So we didn't know what it would be like, where she was going. And it's been pretty positive. I mean, as far as the experience so far, as far as everything that's gone on. And I think she's met a lot of nice people, and it's so we're happy about that, and we're proud of it doing what she's trying to do. So
It sounds like you have a very loving, trusting relationship with Kat, and knowing that because she feels comfortable, you feel
yeah,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I will
I've
say I'm
known
a very open person.
yeah, I've known her a long time.
Kat, living in community, can you share a little bit about how you have been able to build those trusting relationships in your community, whether that be with your community member? You had mentioned that you live with another Mercy volunteer, but also as well, like with your site, your community in Savannah. That would be great.
Yeah. I think like any trusting relationship does depend on how vulnerable you are and how open you are. As a community of two this year, Sully, like I said, he's the other volunteer here, and I really made it a point from the beginning to kind of have that trusting relationship, because we knew that without that, this year could be kind of miserable, just, living together. But to build on that, we do have a safe word. So if there's ever something that's like building up over time, we say pickles. So, as I just said, I'm a pretty open person. Sometimes it is kind of hard for me to share how I'm truly feeling, and I'll just tell you everything's fine and it's all good. But sometimes that's not always the case when you're living with someone and like you're sharing groceries, chores, and all of this stuff. So I'll say pickles to break the tension, and then that's when I'll be honest. But I think to build that trusting relationship, even like we set aside time each week to kind of talk through our week and where our stipend's going to go this week for groceries, what chores we're going to do to hold us accountable, and just have that trust in one another. And I think the same goes for at my service site and with the sisters. At my service site in particular, nothing has gone on that I have really had to approach my supervisor about, but I know that she's very approachable, and at any point in time, I can communicate with her to get through anything.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So as we begin to close out this live, a final question I have for you, Kat, is why should someone serve with MVC? What advice do you have for anyone who is discerning service?
Yeah, so I think that honestly anyone should serve with MVC because this experience will allow you to step out of your comfort zone and really engage in your own personal, spiritual, professional growth while really contributing to the well being of others and to a community that you might not necessarily be familiar with. And I also think that for someone discerning service, I know that this might sound really cliche, but I went with my gut in this, and I think this is a time for you to go with your gut too. And I think you should just think about how you see yourself engaging in a new community with interactions with the people around you, and not only thinking about how you'll serve others, but also what will serve you and what will fill up your cup and really help you to grow in that.
Now, Michael, I want to ask you a similar question. What advice do you have for parents of someone who is discerning a year of service with MBC?
Um, hmm. I know it's kind of, scary when you're thinking about some of the things. Okay, where are they going? You're always trying to teach your children everything and trying to keep them safe and get them out there to do things, but it's not always something that we could do. And well, actually, the other thing I was thinking about is that you got to know your child first. Can your child do it or not? And you'll kind of know them from growing up if they got involved in things and they were able to kind of, you could see if they can handle themselves in different situations. And, being out there when she was in school, there wasn't too much drama that came back to us. So it was like, okay, this seems good so far. And actually, I thought about something when they were little. They had one of the last times they had to hit markers for when you're little, when you're a baby, and you're going and certain things where you're walking, you're crawling, you're doing all this stuff. And we had a physical therapist that had seen them, and it was one of the last times that she was seeing them. And I used to have, I mean, the house between me and my wife, we'd have everything guarded for the kids, like the tables, everything, the corners, all this stuff, keeping, the gates up everywhere. Well, this woman said, oh, we want to teach them how to go up and down the stairs. And I was like, what? No, don't teach them how to go up and down the stairs. I don't want them to know how to do that. And I was kind of thinking this is sort of like this, because there's a lot of stairs out there and we can't teach them everything. And this was sort of a way for her to start going up and down the stairs again, in her life after college. So that's what I think.
I love that, that thought, that analogy.
Yeah, I really didn't want her to learn how to go up the stairs to start with. So,
Well, I did.
The stairs were like, oh, forget about it. Don't go near the stairs.
And now she's running up and down those stairs.
Yeah, they did pretty good. She was going up and down. They did all right. That's what she did good.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you both really for sharing very honestly about your experience with MBC and sharing your story and your perspectives. Thanks to everyone as well who tuned in tonight. As a reminder, we're currently accepting applications for a service beginning in August, similar to Kat. That's when Kat started in August. The priority application deadline is coming up. So mark your calendars. The priority application deadline is January 22nd. However, we will continue accepting applications on a rolling basis until all positions are filled. Please feel free to visit our website for more information at mercyvolunteers.org/apply to get started. And if you have any questions at all or would like to talk with a Mercy volunteer, Kat, or anyone else, you can reach out to us at recruitment@mercyvolunteers.org. I think that is it tonight. Thank you so much, both Michael and Kat, for joining us tonight.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck and
oh, go ahead, Michael.
Good luck and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a happy holiday season. Good night.